We're here in Tarporley at the dreamy Oulton Park. It's round 5 of the Thundersport GB Championship 2016.
Hello and welcome then to Oulton Park, ready for round 5 of the championships in 2016. The crank racing Thundersport500 riders are here on the grid, and it's double points on offer and some big opportunities there for Ben Coyle. On pole position here is Ryan Vickers, number 321, and a welcome back to the grid to Pete Bardell. And it's not just an opportunity in terms of there being double points on offer, but Joe Barton, who led the championship coming into this event, of course last year's champion. He said he'd be missing from a few rounds this year. He's missing from here at Oulton Park, so some big points on offer. And in theory, Joe Barton's lead should disappear by the end of today. Here we go then, off the line. Let's find out into turn 1. A good start there from Jody Chalk, number 87, and we're on board with her now as we go through turn 1 here at Oulton. Ben Coyle it is, though, that has the lead just up ahead now as we drop down the hill and into Cascades. Now on board with Ryan Vickers, 321, who had a very, very good time at Cadwell Park last time out. He just goes past Jody Chalk there. Now we're up towards one of the fastest sections of this circuit, coming up towards Shell Oils. There's John O'Toole we just saw. Peter Bardell here now going past Jody Chalk as well. And so Bardell here, he'll definitely fancy himself for a podium finish here at round 5 in Oulton Park. The only visit to Oulton Park that the championship makes every year, one-day event with double points on offer in these Thundersport500 classes. Further back there you can see 178 is Giles Day, moving himself into position, trying to get himself up there. There is of course the Senior Cup riders to think about here as well. The likes of Colin Mooney, of course, who leads the championship, Dave Moss, Chris Satchwell, Mark Leading, Nick Turner, etc. Those guys are all at the sharp end for riders over the age of 40. Dave Grace then, Capital Windows Honda 500 rider, number 7. Good to see him improving at each round as we now come up towards the forest section, I always like to say, at Oulton Park. This is fast here as we head right now, coming up towards Druids, and then downhill, uphill again. This is the perfect overtaking opportunity into the last few turns here at Oulton Park. That is Ben Coyle. Getting sideways there was Ryan Vickers in second place. Further back there is Lou Osler trying to get himself into the top 10, and there are the two Senior Cup riders having a good jostle early on. Pulling out of the slipstream here though for the lead is Ryan Vickers. He's feinting towards the outside. This could be a brilliant move, and it is. Vickers takes the lead. There's Bardell in third, so Ben Coyle then demoted to second place for now. There's a bit of a gap for me just after the top 3. Further back we're on board now with Dave Grace. He's going the long way round, which will give him the inside line into Cascades. Nicely done there from Dave Grace, and so he should move himself up into the top 6. Further down there is number 79. That's Lee Sylvan, and just up alongside him was number 52, Craig Fowle. So now then, exiting Shell Oils. Ryan Vickers it is that has this lead, number 321 there with the red wheels. In second place, number 14, Ben Coyle. Local round this for Ben. He did fantastically well here in 2015. He got himself back in the game, but by this time last year Joe Barton's lead in the championship was mammoth, and people found it very difficult to come back. And Ben Coyle there, perfectly done on the brakes through his ease out here at Oulton Park, and he goes into the lead. It's a bit of a different look to the championship this year, despite the fact that Barton isn't here. His lead isn't as large. These two already just building, what, half a second lead over Pete Bardell. He might be able to get that back again though if these two involve themselves in a proper fight. Now then, coming up towards Druids here, this right-hander, a few puffs of smoke coming out of the rear end of Ben Coyle's bike there, into the slipstream now. Important to try and pull out at the right moment, ready for a move into Lodge Corner. Downhill, tricky to get right, but beautifully executed there by Ryan Vickers. Then you change direction of the bike up through Deers Leap and onto the start-finish straight. A unique circuit, this one, Oulton Park, but a brilliant one to have on the calendar. In the background there, you can just see Jodie Chalk still in 4th place. And that looks like Josh Leaning is up there with her as well, number 121, another rider that went very well last time out. On board again then with the Satchwell Racing Honda 500 of Ryan Vickers. This time he's going to try and get the great drive around Cascades, which will lead him up towards Island Bend. Ben Coyle here might not be able to fend him off. His foot just slips off the foot peg there, Ben Coyle, and the momentum is now with the rider we're on board with. Ryan Vickers goes up the inside. That's a fast corner on these 500s around Island Bend. Now hard on the brakes towards Shell Oil's hairpin, a banked right-hander. You can really carry a lot of corner speed through here, and look who is closing up on these two now. 222, Pete Bardell has found a couple of tenths in these last few laps and has now made it a 6-wheel battle. Ryan Vickers getting it out of shape through Britain chicane, and now he'll lose momentum, and Ben Coyle will have an opportunity to come through. But keep an eye on Pete Bardell, because whilst these two might be called out napping, Bardell will not take long to join into the party at the moment. He stays in 3rd place, and it's Ben Coyle that leads through Hissy chicane. Race 1 here at Oulton Park, double points on offer. These three absolutely away with it. Further back there's Matt Snow and James Butcher, number 108. James Butcher there just moving up another place. These guys are just inside the points a little bit further back. 50 points on offer for a race win. Ben Coyle at the moment, oh, he would dearly love it. Ben Coyle came into this weekend in 2nd place overall, but he's going to be made to work for it. Look at Bardell! That was incredibly close there. Pete Bardell had to really stand up on the brakes in order to get his bike stopped. Across the line, we complete another lap. Ben Coyle now trying to find another way past. Of course, one thing Ben doesn't want to do is throw it down the road with so many points on offer here. Even a 2nd place finish would lift him up into the lead of the championship. In fact, 3rd would do the same. Around Cascades we go once more then. Leading this race is Ben Coyle, number 14. There he is with a white helmet. Over on the left, 3-2-1. Ryan Vickers just being forced out wide. Pete Bardell now getting a bit hungry in 3rd place as the laps close in. Through Shell Oils now. This will give you an idea as to just how banked this hairpin is. Again, those few puffs of smoke coming from the exhaust pipe of Ben Coyle up towards Britain chicane. One line through here. You have to be really brave to try and put an overtaking manoeuvre through here, but what it does do, of course, is bunch them all up, and that's a good bit of speed through the corner there for Ryan Vickers. He gets right on terms with Ben Coyle, and he's now got the inside line going into his ease. Ben Coyle leaving it late to break, though. That was brilliantly done and brave from Ben Coyle, and he retakes the lead of this race. Further back here, we see Dave Grace, number 7, having a good battle with James Pickford, number 80. Nice to see Pickford up there from Huddersfield on the JP Racing Honda, a rider that looked good in qualifying earlier. There's Lou Osler with John O'Toole, and number 94, Joe Miller from Hull. Joe Miller has been making big steps in this championship. Further back, there's Chris Satchwell, one of the Senior Cup riders. 149 is Andy Whale. 333, Sam Palfreman. Sam, of course, has been up there in some of our Thundersport Cup races so far in 2016. But up we go to complete another lap. Ben Coyle here just has a bit of breathing space, because in the background there, Pete Bardell putting a move now on Ryan Vickers and moves up into 2nd place. Now again, some breathing space for Ben Coyle. Pete Bardell will try and close that gap down. Now we're on board with 3rd place rider Ryan Vickers, who is carrying some good corner speed, but he's just gone pretty wide there into Cascades and might lose a bit of ground. No, because look at this speed he's got as he comes out on towards this mini back straight and up through Island Bend. Ryan Vickers managed to find quite a few tenths there as he pulled in out of the slipstream of Pete Bardell. Further back here, Jodie Chalk just loses out on 4th place. This is Josh Leaning just up ahead that has moved up into 4th overall, but this is the outright battle for the top 3. Coyle at the moment with the advantage ahead of Vickers and Bardell. Bardell as yet not had a turn of leading this race. He's got himself up into second, but no further progress made. Coyle taking the defensive line here, but knows that he's strong on the brakes, so he's fended off Ryan Vickers on this occasion. This will be a big boost for Ben Coyle in that championship. Currently sitting 32 points behind Joe Barton overall, and would move 18 points clear with a race win. Makes such a big difference. Further back there you see Lou Osler and John O'Toole still getting themselves in the mix here. They're up inside the top 10. There is Sam Palfman again, the orange bib, of course, a rookie for 2016. He'll be delighted that he's qualified for today's main race. He's fighting up the top end. Here we go then. Ryan Vickers pulls out of the slipstream once more and goes into the lead, into Lodge Corner, but he's going to be tight through there. That will give Ben Coyle that opportunity on the cutback just to get on the power early again. Here we are on board with race leader Ryan Vickers, but look who that is just creeping over on the right. It is Ben Coyle, and he has a cheeky look round as well. There wasn't much room for these three, but now here comes Pete Bardell, and he's finally found the front of the race. A brilliant move into Old Hull Corner, although it looks like it might be short-lived. Look at the drive there that Vickers had, but unfortunately he's been hung out to dry. He takes that wide drifting line around Cascades, which should give him a lot of drive here. Oh dear, Pete Bardell, whilst leading the race, onto the grass on the exit there. That is bad news. He drops back to third place. Here we are on board with Vickers, who has gone through to the lead. They're coming up on some traffic now as they make their way through into Shell Oils. Brilliantly done there from Ben Coyle, just to get that bike stopped. Chucks it underneath Vickers. Look at this traffic though up ahead. In the background there, Pete Bardell. I think his chances of winning this race are all gone now. That was a big moment for him in a fast part of the circuit on the grass there. And I think he'll settle for the 32 points in third place. Here we go then, with Ryan Vickers and Ben Coyle on your left, number 14, just filtering through some traffic. They're having a look over their shoulder. That was 111 Paul Anion moving well out of the way. Coyle really late on the brakes, continues to pull that one off through Hizzies, but everywhere else, look at the corner speed being carried here by Ryan Vickers. Vickers, an ex-125 Aprilia Super Team rider, and of course, a lot of experience at motocross as well. Now on board with Vickers again, come up towards Druids Corner. He's just taking those lines. It's going to give him that drive. He'll have another go at Ben Coyle here if he can get into the slipstream down into Lodge Corner. He doesn't look close enough at this moment though, and so Coyle, which should make it through Lodge Corner in one piece, but it's all about this line that Vickers takes that enables him to get straight back into the slipstream again as they cross the line once more. Pete Bardell out of the fight for the race win. 50 points on offer and one more lap here of Oulton Park. There's Jodie Chalk. We're on board with her here. She's just lost a few places, in fact. That's Dave Grace, I think, who's just gone through on her. So Jodie Chalk falling back, and there's Pickford as well. So maybe some problems here for Jodie Chalk in the latter stages of this race. There is the race leader, though, Ben Coyle, number 14, and Ryan Vickers, 3-2-1. Vickers, in terms of the championship, doesn't look at this stage like he'll fight for it. Of course, he hasn't been racing since the very first round of the season, but this would really lift him into contention with a decent result here. Ben Coyle, well, first or second, he'll be the new leader of this Crank Racing Thundersport 500 Championship with a decent result. He looks over his shoulder, which is a bit of a surprise on this last lap, but for now, he's safe and he's got a decent gap. Has Ryan Vickers waved the white flag here? Come over the top of the crest there, down towards Hizzies. Vickers nowhere near close enough to be able to get him down into Hizzies, and in truth, even if he was close enough, Ben Coyle really is pushing that front end of his Thundersport 500 machine. Bardell has most certainly settled for third place, and he's in a comfortable third. Further back, there's Dave Grace and James Pickford. Those guys battling it out for fifth place. Josh Leaning, at the moment, is in a bit of a lonely fourth, sandwiched in between the leaders and those guys. There's number 15, Stanley Capper, up ahead of Dave Moss, who's leading the Senior Cup race. Number 17 now, he's just up ahead of Cole Mooney, number 101, so this would be a brilliant win. Oh, and Cole Mooney's gone down. The championship leader in the Senior Cup now, that is a big moment. He came into this round with a whopping 133-point lead, and it's all gone. The checkered flag is out. Ben Coyle takes a very, very big 50 points here in this first race at Oulton Park on home turf, and in second it was Ryan Vickers. Pete Bardell has taken third, and these guys here, you're looking at Pickford and Dave Grace, are fighting it out for 5th place. There's a bit of traffic there as well. James Pickford it is that's going to take that up, just up ahead of them. They closed that gap down, didn't they? There's Josh leading, he'll take 4th. Pickford is in 5th, and Dave Grace there, an excellent 6th place for him. Brilliant racing as ever then in the Crank Racing Thundersport 500s. Ben Coyle with the victory ahead of Ryan Vickers, Pete Bardell 3rd. Josh Leaning took 4th, Pickford 5th, and in 6th place was Dave Grace. Brilliant 50 points, big for the championship, the new series leader. And in the seniors, Dave Moss closes up. A great win for him there, ahead of Nick Turner and Chris Satchwell. Steve Waring, the winner in the Freshmans.
Ben, fantastic race, nip and tuck all the way through.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race with me, Pete and Ryan there. You know, I was expecting to have, have a bit of a battle with the lads there, but thankfully in the end I managed to pull a bit of a gap and crack on,
You must have some sponsors.
Yeah, I have, yeah. So I want to say big thanks to Mum and Dad, obviously, because without them, racing wouldn't be possible. My girlfriend, who plays a massive part of it all my family and friends who are here this weekend, and obviously Infinite Computing, RST, Musty's Polishing, and Carter's Classic Cars. So hopefully, race 2 we can do the double.
Steve, winner, 500 Freshman. Woo, lovely.
First one. I thought I finished second, to be honest, but first is a bonus, so yeah, made up.
Absolutely. You got some people to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Alan and Martin, my cousin, for helping me put the bike together, and John and Annie, and my mum and dad, all the lads that come to watch. Absolutely mega.
Blue Jay, you must be pleased as punch with that.
Oh, happy as Larry, mate. Happy as Larry. Coming over Hilltop, I saw Cole behind me, and I thought, any minute now he's going to have me. And my header pipe actually fell off, and I could hear it blowing, and I thought Cole's going to have me. And I looked behind again, he wasn't there. And I just need to stop looking behind. Pleased as punch. My daughter's here, my grandson, the missus. It's like everybody who supported me. It's just brilliant. Like, it's flat out racing. Couldn't be
fantastic. Well done, Dave.
Thanks very much. Cheers, Sid.
Great win then for Ben Coyle, race 1 here at Oulton Park. Stay tuned, ready for race 2.
Are you ready? Showtime. 1. 2, 3, 4. More bang for your buck.
Here we go then, Oulton Park, race 2 for the Crank Racing Thundersport 500s here. Round 5 of the Thundersport GB Championships for 2016. Brilliant race win earlier for Ben Coyle. Broke the lap record in that fantastic victory earlier on. Ryan Vickers here, well, he certainly pushed him, didn't he, throughout. Number 321, the young rider who's looking to get himself up on the podium again. Pete Bardell here, well, he'll look for improvements. Weather looking a little dodgy, I think it's fair to say here. It's dry at the moment, but there's a few clouds in the sky as we get ourselves ready. Of course, all of these guys on Dunlop tyres, and away they go from the line. Jody Chalk really strong off the line again. There was a major moment there for Pete Bardell, and he is livid already. He almost got wiped out there, I think, by Jody Chalk, but it wasn't the best of starts from him as all of these Thundersport 500s make their way around turn 1, and now downhill towards Cascades. Ben Coyle, the race 1 winner, has the lead already. Pete Bardell finally finds his way back through to 3rd place, having not got off to a great start. A few camera lens spots of rain there. Is that Jody Chalk just flown through? And look at the rain, it's already coming down here. This could be rather interesting. Ben Coyle then it is. Jody Chalk, what a move that was from her. She made up 3 or 4 places. Now we're on board with Dave Grace. This will really test some of the riders because they'll be able to see some of these spots of rain. Here comes Jodie Chalk up the inside as we are on board with Jodie Chalk. There's Ryan Vickers. Oh, dearie me. That is a big, big high side on the exit of Shell Oils there from Ryan Vickers. It's not the first time we've seen riders go down there, but that was momentous. Here we go, on board of him now. Oh, dearie, dearie me. That's a monster high side there from Ryan Vickers. Luckily, doesn't get collected by anyone else. Pete Bardell had to sit up and avoid him. Big, big crash. I do hope that he's okay, but that will certainly mix things up a little here in the early stages of this race. The rider that would have definitely fancied his chances of a podium has gone out of the race. Further back there is number 21, James Lee, but it's still Ben Coyle that has the advantage. Some big, big, fat grey clouds hanging overhead here at Oulton Park then in this race too, and a few of the fans there with umbrellas up. There is Vickers. Nice to see him having a chat then to the marshals. His bike doesn't look like it's fared quite so well though. Coyle it is that leads then from Dave Grace. In third place there is just, I think, we're on board with Jodie Chalk, but that's Josh Leaning that's just gone underneath her. So Josh Leaning now moves up into third place. So here in another double points race, lack of adhesion flag there. That's perhaps the understatement of the century in a Thundersport 500 race with a little bit of precipitation as well. And a few puffs of smoke there as well. Riders going on the dirt. This is carnage, isn't it? Thundersport 500 racing. Here is number 121 then, Josh Leaning in third place ahead of Jodie Chalk, who since returning to Thundersport GB and going on these 500s, she really has come of age. John O'Toole there getting beaten up down at Cascades. There's Joe Miller just up behind him as well. And things, well, are, dare I say, finally starting to settle a little in this race as Pete Bardell will try and prove me wrong. He's just gone past there Lou Osler and number 97 Lee Howarth. Nice to see Lee going so well. Good opportunity this then to bring in Thundersport Syd. Now many of you will know Thundersport Syd from the paddock, one of the co-directors of Thundersport as well. If you can't understand him and his East Anglian tones, then I apologise. There's no point sending in your complaints because all the complaints go straight to you, Syd. But welcome to the commentary box.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, we can always employ subtitles if it becomes a problem anyway. Yeah, fantastic racing here as usual with the Thundersport 500. That was a serious off for poor Ryan Vickers there. Getting a little bit eager at lap one, but he's okay, which is always nice.
Thundersport 500 Syd, well, since it come into the Thundersport Championships in 2009, really has just gone from strength to strength. Lap records every year are tumbling, but I think more noticeably the grid's growing. I mean, we could end up here in a couple of years' time with 4 different grids worth of Thundersport 500s. I didn't realise there were that many CB 500s actually on the planet.
Nor did I, to be fair. To begin with, they were worth about £300. I think they're making anything between £1,200 and £1,800 each now. But yeah, it's brilliant racing, and of course, although no racing's cheap, it's probably the most economical way to race a motorcycle, and it shows. And it's, some of the guys, instead of raced maybe for years, instead of packing in, they come and do this, which is fantastic.
At the moment then it's still Ben Coyle that leads this race. There's Lewis Osler just being overtaken by number 97 Lee Howarth. Lee Howarth then one of the Royal Marine riders that we have racing with us. Osler trying to get back past him again there, but not quite managed it. Double points on offer. Should just remind you as Osler has a big look over his shoulder. The great thing as well about this championship, Syd, is the camaraderie in the paddock. Now, I myself, of course, haven't had the opportunity to spend too much time in the paddock this season, but over the last few years I certainly have, and this year, as ever, there's lots of fun being had off circuit between these guys and girls.
Well, it's brilliant, and if you do have a big off, and it happens to be in race 1 or day 1, then the whole paddock will come to your aid. And you'll find that you've got a rebuilt bike. Boom, boom. Just as easy as that.
Well, number 40 there, Rob Aimable, who you'll see in a few cup races this year. He almost found himself in a position where he might have to rebuild his bike a moment ago. Very close to the grass. Now, Ben Coyle it is that leads, then down into Lodge Corner, 7 there. Dave Grace in a great position to take 40 points. He's in second. Pete Bardell now climbed up to 3rd place. Remember, Bardell got caught up in that incident with Ryan Vickers earlier on when Vickers went down. He had to take some avoiding action, so he's done very well to get himself back up there. There is Jodie Chalk, she's going well. Then it's Lou Osler, then it's Lee Howarth. And then after these guys, you've got James Pickford, Joe Miller, John O'Toole, etc. Trying to find themselves into a top 10 place. With no Joe Barton here, of course, we mentioned before, Ben Coyle with a great opportunity. He is your new championship leader. He took the lap record in the earlier race as well. And further back in the pack, Colin Mooney, the Senior Cup championship leader, and Dave Moss, who won race 1 in the Senior Cup, are having another great battle. They are in 15th and 16th-ish places respectively. Dave Moss at the moment, as we went through the last sector, just at the moment has the advantage. There you see another great move from Lee Howarth and Lou Osler. Lee Howarth again moving himself up into 6th place overall. These guys at the moment catching Jodie Chalk, who in race 1 seems to have a few problems. Jodie Chalk has been going well though. Sid, nice to see her back in Thundersport GB here. We'll stop there for a moment because Dave Grace has just been mugged for 2nd place. Pete Bardell is on a charge. He goes through into 2nd place. But Jodie Chalk, great to have her back in the paddock and great to see her fighting at the sharp end.
Oh, brilliant. And this has shown her talent, to be perfectly honest. Sometimes when they get on the bigger bikes, when she was on a 600, she's a really good rider, But, you know, you have to wrestle those things around. And let's not forget, her and her family have to make a monumental effort to come all the way down here from Scotland to compete in Thundersport GB, as do our Irish riders and indeed from those from the Isle of Man.
Yeah, great job done by all of them, and they continue to flock in from overseas and from up north in Scotland as well into the Thundersport Championship, and their support is well loved by everyone at Thundersport. Ben Coyle then with a brilliant lead here in this race. It looks like he could be on for a double, 100 points, which is massive when you think about the championship with no Joe Barton here. Pete Bardell at the moment done very well though to get himself here into 2nd place. Dave Grace, well, it would have been great to see Dave Grace on the podium, and he still could make it, but he does have some trouble here. Josh Leaning is all over the back of him. Further back, there's Pickford, John O'Toole, number 21 in there as well, James Lee, and then Joe Miller. Joe Miller, not so long ago, had an orange vest on. That shows you how well he's come on. This is the battle then for 3rd. There is Dave Grace, number 7, rider from Mikulova, Capital Windows Honda, up ahead of Josh Leaning. Big look up, under his arm then from Pete Bardell, and lost a bit of time in the process. Here we're on board with Dave Grace, and there is 3rd place gone. And Dave Grace now slips down to 4th place. Josh Leaning then up into 3rd overall now. Dave Grace will not want his podium place taken away from him. Not when he's been in 2nd place for as long as he has. Brilliant stuff there. Oh, I thought that Joe Miller was going to launch an attack into his ease, but just at the last moment, he grabbed a handful of brake to avoid contact into his ease overall, and for now, Joe Miller stays in 9th place. Ben Coyle then heads down towards Lodge Corner. Good advantage for him. This is 2nd place rider number 222, Pete Bardell. Then it's Josh Leaning 121, who since getting past Dave Grace, has just built himself, what, a half a second lead over him. Across the line we go. If you've just joined in this race, then we can tell you, of course, that earlier on, brilliant race 1, very, very close indeed. One of the contenders for that, Ryan Vickers, went out of this race on the 1st lap. Big high side over at Shell Oils. Championship leader of old, as we see there, Pickford going underneath O'Toole. Joe Barton, who's not here, has lost his lead overall thanks to Ben Coyle's win earlier on. This battle continues to go on as well between Lou Osler, number 82, and Lee Howarth, but there's no one catching Ben Coyle here. Ben Coyle, brilliant rider, Sid. Not living too far away from here, but this is the battle that we're looking at right now for 2nd place, and Dave Grace, having lost out on 3rd place, has regained 3rd place now and charges down on Pete Bardell.
Well, of course, Dave must know the story that Josh is not going to be very comfortable in 3rd place, as he likes to mince around in 6th.
Yeah, of course. In fact, it was here, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Last year that interview took place with the leading brothers. We were talking about how to solve a problem like Joe Barton, who was leading the championship by a considerable distance. That finally got done there by Joe Miller. He had to go at that previous lap. Didn't work out. This time he's just about managed to make it stick past number 21, James Lee. Yeah, Josh leading at the moment. Just going to fall off the podium unless he can get back past Dave Grace. They're getting their elbows out here. It's going to have to go the long way round. Josh leaning. No, doesn't quite work out. Round Lodge Corner. Now early on the power. Over Deers Leap and across the line. It's still just Dave Grace win 3rd place, but not for long. Up the inside again. There goes Josh leaning into Old Hall Corner.
I think it's just about having someone to play with. I love that, don't you? When they say, follow me, so we can catch the leader. Now Dave wants to beat you, Josh. That's the point. But I was then going to say, I mean, we all know already that in truth...
Well, if you're going to follow him, you don't want to follow him onto the grass, that's for sure. I can kind of see Josh's point. They were tussling with each other. They allowed Pete Bardell to get away from them, and Josh is just thinking, look, let's have a lap or two just to try and get on terms with Pete Bardell. But of course, telling a fellow rider that, as you say, does want to beat you, to sit and follow you, is not really part of the racing game. But that could have been a nasty moment there for Josh Lee. We saw in race 1 Pete Bardell do something very similar. And so Josh Leaning's chances now of a podium have completely gone away, and Dave Grace will know that as well.
Dave Grace has really come on song of late, I think. I think he's really improved his riding.
He has. He's a big, tall guy as well.
Yeah.
You can see there. So he gets his arm tucked just up behind the tank there, trying to optimise any form of aerodynamics that he can. But yeah, I agree. Definitely come on strong. Last year, really struggled to get himself into the top 5. Further back in this race, there's Pickford. Miller now, again, just trying to get that move sussed. Was that John O'Toole who just went straight on there, I think? Easy to do here, and it was John O'Toole. Just gone straight on through his. He's there, out-braking himself. So easy to do down there as you're coming downhill. So Ben Coyle it is with a big lead. Pete Bardell here in 2nd place, and barring any mistakes here, 2nd place should be wrapped up for him very shortly. And Dave Grace now, I think he'd settle for that. 3rd place and on the podium. That'll be 32 points instead of the usual 16, of course. Double points on offer. The last lap flag is out. But what a change in the championship this could be. As we see further back there, that's Lewis Osler just going underneath Jody Chalk. So Osler now up into 5th place. Good late charge this from Osler. Chalk comes back again. They see the last lap flag. Jody Chalk has the inside line going into Old Hall Corner. What a day this is going to be for Ben Coyle, Sid. 100 points from a possible 100 if he can just send this home.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's so nice to see as well, because he had a really tough year last year with his injuries and so on. So it's really good to see. People getting out of his way there, very nice to see. But yeah, he's done so well. He loves this circuit, obviously, so he looks forward to coming here. But don't start congratulating yourself too soon, Ben. We've seen that once before, once or twice.
Yes, we have, yeah. Sean Emmett comes to mind, British Superbike,
yeah.
Thruxton. Wheeling out of the final chicane and then flipping it. As we're on board here with Jody Chalk, she went a bit wide there, opened the door, and Lou Osler has come underneath her. This is the battle for 5th place. But I wonder if Ben Coyle there was just sticking his thumbs up to Ryan Vickers, who was obviously down over there, just making sure all okay.
I reckon you're right.
So here we go through the chicane then. Jody Chalk now must aim to try and get on the power early and into the slipstream of Lou Osler. Lou Osler, well, you've only just overtaken it, Jody, so she is definitely still there. Has another look as well. Is there a bit of showboating going on here between these two? The door left open. Osler, oh, that's close. These two have both got to be careful because they've got company as well, just tucked up behind Jody here. Not too clean through the chicane. I wonder on earth Lewis Osler's doing here. Well, I'll have to find out in the next round, Sid. Lou Osler there, looking over his shoulder far too often for my liking. Here we go then, checkered flag out. 100 points then for Ben Coyle, and he takes the lead of the championship. and will head into the next round at Rockingham with a nice healthy advantage over the rest of the field. It will be second place in this race for Pete Bardell, and after what happened earlier in the race with Vickers going down, that's a good result there for Bardell. Dave Grace does take the podium. He'll finish in third place ahead of Josh Leaning. Lewis Osler did manage it across the line in fifth place in the end ahead of Jody Chalk, and there are your top three. Ben Coyle there, centre of your picture. In the Senior Cup, Dave Moss winner again ahead of Cole Mooney and Nick Turner, and in the Freshman it was George Davies the winner ahead of Chris Jones and Ben Martin.
George, winner of the 500 Freshman, you must be chuffed with that.
Yeah, really chuffed. After all the problems she had at Cadwell, yeah, it's good to be actually winning again.
Brilliant. And have you got some people you'd like to thank?
Yeah, Charlene, who's hiding down there, won't come up. My old man, my friend Noel for helping me with the spanner work, JC Motorcycles, and the college that I work at, because they actually gave me the day off yesterday, so I got to come up.
One more race left here from the Thundersport 500s here at Oulton Park. Stay tuned.
Third door on your right.
Oulton Park, well, as you can see, the rain has come down here. It's Crank Racing Thundersport 500, the final race here for the 500s. This is a cup race. Wet tyres, order of the day. You can see there Lee Sylvan, so no points on offer, but a bit of pride and a few trophies as well here. And to be honest with you, I think that's the least that these guys are going to deserve, racing around Oulton Park in these conditions. There's Mark Leaning. Mark, father, of course, to Josh and Will, who race competitively at the front end of the main Thundersport 500 championships. So, well, you might think this will be a bit of fun. These guys are uber competitive. Also on the front row there, Clive Mindham, as they all roar away from the line. Plenty of orange jackets to look out for here in this race. A number of rookies and freshmen in the Thundersport championships, and a number of old boys as well. The Senior Cup riders for riders aged over 40, and believe me, there are some that are way over 40 that are racing here in this class. Down into Cascades, it is a familiar figure there, just coming through with the orange jacket on number 40, Rob Amable. Well, Rob from Dover on the Blackstone Racing Honda, certainly getting some decent racecraft. We're on board here with Lee Sylvan, let's get it right, Steve, as Rob Amable just goes through on him there. This is on the That'll Do Racing Honda, which sounds like a racehorse more than a motorcycle, to be honest. But here we are then on board with Lee once more, down into Shell Oils. And Rob there got a decent lead already. That's Mark Leaning just going underneath him, number 11, bright yellow wheels. Mark Leaning, who has certainly been pretty handsome in these races himself of late. Got himself up on the top step a couple of times and had a chat to Syd on the podium. There's number 58 just going through as well. That's Paul Leonard. New names for you here in this one. Ollie Kelly, a rider to look out for. Chris Satchwell, number 46, of course, the man that runs Ryan Vickers. Number 46, he's got that font that looks very familiar in the number 46 as well. Move coming up here, number 28. Good stuff there. That's Carl Chamley from Bradford, who's just gone underneath Lee Sylvan, who we were on board with a moment ago. And there is Ollie Kelly, number 51, ahead of the all black and gold number 46 of Chris Satchwell. Good opportunity to bring in Syd to the fray here. Syd, a classic example here of the Thundersport 500s. The very fact that you have a Thundersport 500 Cup race just goes to show you how large the grid is for the 500s, and that all of these guys get a chance to get a couple of races in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 2 from 3 format. Sometimes we have 2 full grids, so it'll be 4 races. But in this particular, because of the time constraints we've got at Oulton Park, it's a 2 from 3 format, so we can basically only take 60 riders to qualify. What it basically means is that the slower riders will go at the back of race 1 and 2, and then they will all come together in this one race at the end. Strangely enough, what we didn't do in the last race was, or in the first race of this particular selection, is talk about a very famous person in our midst, which I was hoping that he was going to be in this race, but unfortunately he has an injured hand, and that is indeed Lord Doody of Doodington Hall, and such a shame that he couldn't make it out in this. I know he loves the wet, and he's got a specially liveried bike as well.
Well, I've been told that the exact reason as to what the hand injury is by Phil Doody as well, but I'm not sure if I can fully report on how that happened, so we'll move on swiftly as we see a bit of an overtaking manoeuvre coming up here. These are treacherous conditions here at Oulton Park. There is Lee Sylvan just up ahead of Paul Leonard, but Phil did send me a text message just to let me know that he was very grateful to Jessica Wheatley and Christina Cooper of Moto's Race Paints, because they'd got that Old Spice machine ready for him to race, but of course Phil, who's getting on a bit now, decided that he'd cop off because of a sore hand, which is a bit of a footballer's excuse if you ask me. There is number 46 then, Chris Satchwell. Nice move from him on Leonard through Hizzy's chicane. Really awkward conditions here, but valid experience being gained by everybody out on circuit. You really do get a good feeling for the bike, and of course if any of these guys are in a championship race in these conditions, they can learn a great deal from it. Completely different riding style required in conditions like this. You've got to keep yourself far more alert, be a bit easier on the throttle, easier on the brakes, and a rider that's given you the perfect example of that at the moment is this man here, Rob Aimable, number 40, who has built up a huge lead in this Crank Racing Thundersport 500 race. Here he goes across the line, just up in, oh, is that second place there? Sorry, is Carl Chamley, who's managed to find his way up there. Apologies to Chris. I didn't see him there. He got past Mark Leaning and has made excellent progress. Mark Leaning is in 3rd place. There is Ollie Kelly up into 4th. Lee Sylvan there, 79, has just gone up into 5th place ahead of Chris Satchwell, but he runs wide on the exit. Be careful of those white painted stripes and of course the rumble strips as well, but you can see from the onboards here, Sid, despite the sun shining, pretty ugly conditions for these guys to be racing out in.
That's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. But behind all of these visors, and most of them have got clear visors on, you'll see big grins because it is such fun. And let's not forget that these guys, even in the cup races, on wet tyres, are going faster on these shopping trolleys, ex-shopping trolleys, than they were designed to go in the dry on the road.
Well, it's a bit of a disservice to those motorcycles, calling them shopping trolleys, Sid. I'm pretty sure that they're worth a little bit more than your average shopping trolley. I would imagine the smiles and grins will be bigger on some of the senior cup riders as well, their faces, because even if it is ugly conditions, this beats getting your bus past, doesn't it? Good opportunity then for these guys to get out there and have some fun. Mark Leaning in particular, at the moment, the senior cup rider that is flying. He is the fastest of all, although Chris Satchwell at the moment is up there as well, number 46, and is closing down on him. There is number 28 then. He's Carl Chamley closing in, trying to find a way past Rob Aimable. There's Giles Day. Good surname, that.
Excellent name, excellent name.
Giles then going through into the chicane. Hizzy's just up ahead of Gary Wilson from Rawmarsh. And they're just tiptoeing their way around Hizzy's at the moment. It's awkward conditions. And, oh, that doesn't sound too good, and it isn't. One of the rookies there, number 18, Chris Bramley from Nottingham, our free freshman rider, has gone down and out of the race. You're not allowed to remount, of course, let's not forget. This is the battle out front then. Rob Aimable, will he be aware of the company that he's got? Number 28, Chamley, has been closing in by a good 2 or 3 tenths per lap, and now he's going to get a chance here to go into turn 1. to have a nibble at him. There's Ollie Kelly, currently in third place with the pink helmet, number 51, and Chris Satchwell on the black and gold Honda, just closing him in as well. Satchwell fancies a podium here, and a trophy on offer at the end of it. Then behind these guys is 58. We mentioned earlier Paul Leonard from Nantwich. Not got far to travel home, has he? At the end of this day. There's Lee Sylvan up the inside of Mark Leaning. The door was left open there by Mark, and so they'll have to fight it out again. In fact, Mark Leaning might lose 2 in 1 there. Here is Ollie Kelly. Chris Satchwell going the long way round into Cascades. Oh, beautifully done there by senior cup rider Chris Satchwell. Going the long way round into Cascades, past Ollie Kelly and into third place.
I think Chris has found his niche now in this particular class. He's certainly helping some people out, like Ryan Vickers, for example. He's going to try and bring some youngsters on and run the Satchwell team racing. So that's nice to see, actually, because not all the youngsters can afford to buy a more expensive RRV, Aprilia, etc., etc. This is certainly a good way to start.
No, perfect way to start. This is the battle out front. Now, Rob Amable, he might not have a pit board, but he had a look over his shoulder and saw number 28, Carl Chamney, closing in. But if he looks over his shoulder now, he won't see him at all because he's gone down. And that's such a shame because Carl will know, he'll be frustrated. He could see he was closing in, and that is what that look on the face is all about. The rookie there had a sniff of glory and unfortunately thrown it away, and that means that Rob Amable's lead now out front is over 20 seconds. He might not know about it yet, but he will shortly. Here he is then. Well, he'll just think in a moment. The great thing is here for Rob Amable, he looked over his shoulder earlier on and he saw that he had company. He just looked over his shoulder then and thought, wow, I've just had a brilliant sector.
I mean, it just goes to prove that you can high-side a CB500.
You certainly can. Just ask Ryan Vickers. Oh, that was tight. Going down into Lodge Corner there, Ollie Kelly did not give Chris Satchwell too much room. Satchwell did very well not to make contact as they go on to the start-finish straight, and off they go again. Well, these guys now are guaranteed a podium place if they stay upright, but they are really getting tucked into each other here. Satchwell passed him again into Old Hall Corner. A pair of them need to be just a little careful because Paul Leonard is now just got past Lee Sylvan there for 4th place and is closing these guys down at quite a rate. There he is, number 58. Then it's Lee Sylvan just up behind him. Lee Sylvan from Bury St Edmunds on the That'll Do Racing Honda. So much like Syd, quite a bit of travelling to do on the way home back from Oulton Park here near Chester.
I tell you, these guys are not hanging about. I mean, only 15 seconds off the fast dry boys, and this is a long lap round here at Oulton Park.
Yeah, absolutely. No, the lap times are looking pretty good, aren't they? Rob Amable at the moment at 2:11.4, his fastest lap. Like Carl Chamley before he went down. Yeah, similar sort of times into the 2:12s. Good ride this then from Amable, and it looks like he's going to be having a chat with you after this one, Syd. There is, well, that's an interesting new riding style there from number 116, and he's pulling out of the race by the looks of things. There's Chris Satchwell going through as well.
You learned that from Rossi.
George Williams, that is, just pulling over off to the left there. And for a minute, I thought he'd run out of brakes. He was just trying to put his arms out to stop. But he has pulled over and out of the race. That was Chris Satchwell just going through there, who is currently, of course, still fighting it out for that 2nd place. Amable then, well, I wonder if he could probably do with a pit board right now, just so that he knows what sort of an advantage he's got. Last lap flags out, he's only got 1 lap left to do. Of course, it's awkward in conditions like this to really do anything differently to what you've done in the race so far. So easy to make the slightest mistake and drop out of the race. Who's going to get 2nd place then at the moment? It's Chris Satchwell, number 46, ahead of Ollie Kelly, and then number 58, Paul Leonard. Lee Sylvan is now, in fact, got up behind Ollie Kelly, so Leonard there has just dropped away. So Sylvan are on board with him now, number 79, coming on strong at the end of this race. Brilliant move from him. He now moves up into 3rd place. It's amazing what a bit of heat in some tyres in conditions like this can do for you, Syd.
It is indeed, yeah. And these Dunlop wets do work exceptionally well once they're up to temperature. one of the things that these guys won't like, of course, is the bikes getting so dirty, because they're so well turned out these days. I mean, it's difficult not to award the best turned out bike award to a CB500 every event, because most of them are absolutely lovely. So much time spent on them, you know.
Yeah, well, in fairness, the least dirty bike out there will probably be Rob Amable, because he's not been in the toe of anyone so far in this race. He has added all to himself. Okay, at points and in stages, Carl Chamley was closing in on him, but he never got past him. And this has been a really good performance here for Rob Amable. There aren't any points on offer, but there is a trophy, and he deserves it. It's been a solid race. He's not put a foot wrong at all. That is something else, I tell you, in conditions like this. So slippery. This is the battle for second. Still Satchwell. Ollie Kelly has moved back into third place, number 51, ahead of Lee Sylvan. So expect a late charge here. Sylvan's going to have to carry some decent corner speed here through his, and does so. Nicely done there from Lee Sylvan. He's taking that wide swooping line here so he can get the drive now uphill through Knickerbrook. Oh dear. There's a bike who's just, well, there's a bike without a rider. Number 66, Chris Jones from Huddersfield. And he just runs over to, he's having none of it. I'll switch that off and I'll leg it. And Jones is off, unfortunately, on this final lap. But the checkered flag is out. Been a really good win this. Crank Racing, Rob Amable, he gets it. It's a brilliant stuff from him. He's going to win this race by well over 25 seconds. And this is now the battle for second place. 46 Satchwell has it at the moment. Ollie Kelly thinking about a late move, and he does. He leaves it very late indeed to break. Can he get it stopped? Satchwell will have the better line coming out. Oh, really beautifully done there from Ollie Kelly. Can he hold on then to this win? The checkered flag is being waved. Sorry, it won't be the win, it'll be second place. We're getting overexcited. It is, of course, Rob Amable that's taken the win, but Ollie Kelly, it'll feel like one. Brilliant second place for him. Those guys go across the line, and Amable's already in Parc Ferme. 27-second lead and win for the number 40 ahead of Ollie Kelly. Chris Satchwell was third. Lee Sylvan finished in fourth place. Fifth for Paul Leonard, and it was sixth in the end for Steve Waring. There's the top three then. Rob Amable, the winner from Ollie Kelly and Chris Satchwell. Now let's look at the overall standings in the Thundersport 500s, and there you see Ben Coyle, 100 points for him today. Means that he will go into round 6 as the championship leader ahead of Barton. Bardell is up into third place. Brilliant stuff for him. In the seniors, Cole Mooney still leads in the championship, but it's now cut to under 100 points, well under in fact. Dave Moss really has closed up there in second place overall. Nick Turner in third. And in the freshmen, George Davies has the advantage at this stage, with Steve Waring in second and Rob Amable up to third.
So Rob, the usual fantastic big grin on your face. Yeah. And you've gone on another one. So obviously the conditions just don't matter to you, do they?
No, I just went out there and rid my bike. I think, yeah.
Actually, you do really well in the wet, don't you?
Yeah, I have been. Yeah, I've won quite a few trophies in the wet, and hopefully that will continue.
Well, yeah, it's lovely to see anyway. Have you got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I want to thank my beautiful wife standing there looking at me, and thank everybody in the office at Thundersport GB. Thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you very much. It's been great to see you.
Thank you.
That's it from the 500s then here at a very wet Oulton Park. Let's hope the sun's shining next time. Round 6 at Rockingham.